Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Welcome to The Ray Taylor Show, where I bring you the reviews on the latest movies and TV shows, as well as classic and foreign films. I'm your host, Ray Taylor, and on this podcast, I'll be talking about all things film and television. Whether you're looking for a new show to binge, or want to know if that blockbuster is worth the trip to the theater, or just want to hear my thoughts on a classic or foreign film, I've got you covered. So join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new episodes, and let's dive into the world of film and television together. On this episode, I am talking about the follow-up, the sequel to what I thought was an extremely fun movie. I don't know how long ago, but at this time, it is Murder Mystery 2, a very generic title for a very fun movie. This movie just came out on Netflix, 2023, directed by Jeremy Garelick. Jeremy Garelick, I don't know how you pronounce that, written by James Vanderbilt, starring Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston, as the first movie did. This time, the full-time detectives Nick and Audrey are struggling to get their private eye agency off the ground. They find themselves at the center of international abduction when their friend Maharaja is kidnapped at his own lavish wedding. As I said, I was a huge fan of the first movie. I was excited when I saw there was a sequel. I had no idea where this would be going. I had no idea there would be a sequel or a follow-up to the first movie. And I rewatched the first movie in preparation because it feels like it's been a few years. And, you know, I remember liking the movie. I actually reviewed it. It's one of the earlier reviews if you want to check that out on YouTube, or you might be able to find YouTube, you'd be able to find my review of the first movie. But I rewatched it just to jog my memory, see where we're at with this couple. And I got to say, the rewatch of the first movie was a lot of fun. I still liked it a lot. And I got to say, this movie was just as fun, if not even more so. I absolutely like this movie a lot. It's really a fun action comedy with a fun mystery. I would say the big difference, or a difference in this one, is that there is more action in this movie, where the first one isn't as much of an action, more of a comedy mystery. I absolutely love the chemistry between Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. As a married couple, I thought it was great. Great married couple. The first movie, there was a lot of bickering, whereas this one, it seemed like they were a little bit more on the same team for the most part. In the first movie, she was a hairdresser, but she was a huge fan of mystery novels. And he was a cop who failed his detective exam and was not only lying about a promotion to becoming detective, lying about a raise, but also was lying about the trip that they were taking in the first movie that was supposed to be their belated honeymoon, which in reality was a last-minute thing for Adam Sandler's character to do. And on their trip, early on in the first movie still, they meet a wealthy guy who invites them onto his yacht, where there is kind of a little bit of a family gathering in regards to a will. The patriarchal leader of this family is changing his will, and he's making an announcement. Of course, as most mystery novels do, when a will is involved in some way, there is a murder. And they were there to solve this murder, right? And a great movie, a lot of fun. And this movie, the same. This is still fun, still funny. A lot of the same kinds of mystery aspects to it. A lot of similar elements to the first one. But more action, as I said. They somehow make Adam Sandler look like he can fight. And the mystery itself, kind of over the top, kind of ridiculous. So many twists in just a single scene, right? This movie has no problem throwing twist after twist, like really piling on the twists in a way that I believe only adds to the comedy. Not necessarily a whodunit like a Benoit Blanc mystery. Like, this is clearly not to the caliber of movie writing, fine-tuned movie mystery writing that Rian Johnson brings to a movie. But I believe it's doing its own very unique take on mystery, combining it with comedy, also having the element of action in the movie as well. Not absolutely the same crafted puzzle work that would exist with a Rian Johnson mystery like Knives Out or Glass Onion. But I love this movie. I love this movie for very different reasons than I love the Benoit Blanc films, but still both in high regards for very different reasons. You have some returning characters that are a lot of fun from the first movie. You have some fun callbacks from the first movie. The couple, as the description mentions, is now a private eye team, so they are working together. This movie starts with them, like kind of a small recap of like a previously on, which is kind of nice. Movies generally don't do that, but there's kind of a minor recap of the first movie. And then also showing this new couple as they're working at a detective agency, or their own detective agency, kind of on a job. And still kind of showing how, maybe they're not really that refined in their detective work. So it shows clips of them on a job, and they get a call from the Maharaja, which is a character from the first one, and he's getting married. So of course he's inviting them to this lavish island, to where this massive, elaborate Indian wedding is taking place. So it all kind of starts at the wedding where he gets kidnapped, and then it ends up going to Paris in this movie. Right, them trying to find out who kidnapped their friend. You're seeing the case of money, the ransom money, kind of going from this baton of who's really involved with this, going from person to person, right? And it's his close friends that are all the prime suspects, right? They had hundreds of people on the island, but of course it had to have been somebody on the inside, somebody close to him that could have helped this kidnapping take place. Right? And there's the couple, the Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston, their characters. They're a combination of kind of like clumsy idiots, but actually also knowing what they're doing, right? It's kind of a fun mixture where it's not just necessarily one. It's not like a Laurel and Hardy situation. It's not like a straight man and a goofball. It's not necessarily like Jackie Chan movies. This one definitely had a lot of vibes like the Shanghai Nights movie with him and Owen Wilson, where Owen Wilson kind of causes problems and Jackie Chan kind of solves them, as most Jackie Chan movies are. This one is kind of, sometimes they're both causing problems, sometimes they're both solving it, but I think they make a great team. Right? Sometimes they're stumbling into the right path, and sometimes they're actually following legitimate leads. Both comical. Jennifer Aniston, obviously, Friends. She has a comedic background on some level, and I think just her with Adam Sandler, it's just a great combination. I absolutely loved it. The formula works for me by far. Right? This is a movie where, despite it being like a mystery, which most mysteries you can't really do, but in this movie, I can really just shut my brain down and just enjoy the ride, right? Whereas other mysteries, you're kind of more invested, you're paying attention, you're almost trying to solve the mystery, where this one, it is so crazy as things happen that it's like, it's better to just unplug and enjoy the ride and just let them come up with however they come up with this stuff, right? Watching their chemistry, watching this adventure that they go on. This one seems to be more teamwork, less bickering as the first one. But obviously, in any movie like this, even in Shanghai Nights, there is a moment to cause some drama where the two people, there is an issue where they kind of go separate ways, right? To add a little bit more drama, despite the fact that they generally are a great team and fun to watch. I think that adds to it, their chemistry, right? And I buy it all. Like, I'm all in. I love this movie. It's such a fun ride watching them figure it out. There's a lot of fun action set pieces. There's some fun fight scenes. The story is absolutely ridiculous. Like, it is piled on. Fun characters from the first movie, some fun new characters from this one, and really doing a great job at kind of setting up this world, setting these movies up to be a franchise of movies, which despite how much I don't like franchises, despite how much I like, it seems like instead of creating new movies, there's always these like regurgitated IPs. I think this is an original IP, and I think it's a lot of fun. So I'm fine with this. This is an exception to my rule, and I hope they make more. Let's take a quick break from this episode because I want to talk about, are you looking to add some unique and expressive artwork to your home, office, or wardrobe? Look no further than the Many Faces series by Ray Taylor. That's me. These abstract paintings on paper explore the endless possibilities of the human face, capturing unique expressions of emotion, mood, tone, and energy in just a few minimal features. Now you can bring these stunning and thought-provoking pieces into your own space with high-quality prints and t-shirts, featuring designs from the Many Faces series. Or take home a one-of-a-kind original piece for your collection. Don't miss out on this opportunity to add some original and expressive artwork to your home, office, or wardrobe. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com to browse and purchase original artworks, prints, and t-shirts from the Many Faces series today. And now, back to the show. But I do want to talk about spoilers. I want to talk about specific things that I loved about this movie. I would highly recommend checking it out. If you like funny, fun, action, mystery, if you liked the first movie, you're going to love this. If you haven't seen either of them, do them back to back. It is fun. I literally watched them back to back yesterday. Rewatched the first one just to refresh and went right into this one, and it was just, they're so much fun, and they're short. Like, this one's only an hour and a half long, where so many movies are 2+ hours long these days. It's refreshing to have a nice, tight, 90-minute action, comedy, mystery. And also a fun combination of those genres. But I do want to get into spoilers, so let's get into spoilers, starting now. Like I said, returning characters, Vikram, a.k.a. the Maharaja, getting married. You have the Colonel, who in the first movie had a prosthetic hand. In this movie, lost his complete arm now, right, and had been replaced as the Maharaja's new security. He has a new security guard, which obviously fails in this movie. You also have Inspector Delacroix, the guy who smokes the perfect smoke rings, blows the perfect smoke rings from the first movie, is back in this movie as well. Great to see him back. Great to see all of the returning characters, including our main characters, back, and fun new characters as well. My prediction of this movie, when this movie started at the beginning, when they're doing the kind of catch up, like what happened in the previous, what they've been doing since the last movie. There's a scene where they are riding on the Orient Express train, which is another mystery, well-known mystery. Spoilers for Orient Express for those who haven't seen that, but that movie is about how everybody is the killer. So I thought maybe that is a little foreshadowing, a little tidbit, little morsel this movie is trying to hint at, that more people are involved than you think. And I would say it's not necessarily exactly on point, my prediction, but considering how many twists and double and triple crosses there are, eventually by the end of this movie, it is almost like an Orient Express, but done in a way that I found to be much more fun. The Orient Express remake that I watched that came out a few years ago literally put me to sleep in the movie theater. It was so boring. And the end was so like it's such like what they're all the kids like it just where this one completely different despite clearly having some similarities to that movie. There are a lot of fun bits in this movie. You have in the beginning, you have Adam Sandler's character like obsessed with this cheese. Obviously, it messes with his stomach, but he can't he's as things are happening, he can't help but just gnaw on this cheese, which like made me want to eat cheese. You have the bit where they after the kidnapping happens, and they are clearly targets because they not only are kind of the outsiders in this group, but also people that want to find out which one of these people is guilty, lock themselves in their room by putting like a giant bench and a giant potted plant. And people like one at a time keep coming over to like tell them that they're not the person. And it's a hilarious bit where they're having to move those things back and forth from in front of the door to let people in. Also just how one person comes out and they have to hide in different places. A funny scene to start this thing off, right? You have another supercar as the first movie. There is a scene where they're chasing after the killer, right? And the first movie is like it's after another twist. You think the thing's solved, and it's like, oh no, there's somebody else involved. We got to go after him. Oh, there's a supercar. Let's get into the supercar. And Adam Sandler's character is stoked. He's like, yes. And they get in. And when they get in, they realize that, of course, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. So Jennifer Aniston gets to drive in the first movie. So when they see another supercar in another moment where they need a car, Adam Sandler's like, yes, this time I'm going to get in on the right side. And I'm going to be able to finally drive this car. Because they're got to go. There's no time to like switch seats if they get in the wrong seat. So he gets in, and of course, this time the steering wheel's on the other side. So again, Jennifer Aniston has to drive. Hilarious that callback. There's also at the end of these movies, when they do their like kind of laying everything out. They're in the first movie, for some reason, they change into really fancy clothes. And again, they do it in here, and it doesn't make any sense, but it's a fun little callback. When they go to lay everything out in front of everybody, that moment in detective mystery movies where the detective just lays it all out for everybody, like they're always changed into like fancy clothes. So another kind of a fun running gag in these movies. You also have them being a suspect when the real investigator, Miller, who is a new character, he's kind of like special agent man, shows up on the island in scuba gear with all of his scuba buddies, right? And the Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler's character, which I should probably just pull up their names. They're super fanboying Nick and Audrey. They're super fanboying off him because he's the guy who literally wrote the detective training manual that they've been trying to pass the test on. So like they want to, again, like the first movie where it's the Inspector Clouseau guy, or Inspector what's his name? His name is Inspector Delacroix, the guy who blows the perfect smoke rings. In the first movie, considers them the prime suspects. And again, you have this new Miller guy like fingering them as the prime suspects. And in both movies, it is it motivates them to solve this thing so they're not fingered for the murder, for the kidnapping in this one. Right? So another kind of similar setup as the first movie. And, you know, in this one a little bit more, they're more motivated to kind of show this guy that they kind of look up to, that they know their shit, right? And again, the end wrap up where they get into fancy clothes is great. The van scene, some great action scenes in this movie. There's a van scene where they're like doing the handoff with the money, and they're going through all the rules. One of the rules being never go to a second location. So, of course, they end up going to a second location, getting into a van, which turns into this van fight, which is hilarious, which is great, which goes like these are long action set pieces which are just absolutely hilarious and absolutely remind me of like a Jackie Chan type of, like, where it's clumsy, kind of doing what you can to fight, but not like in a very comical kind of way like Jackie Chan's movies are, right? It's so much funny, so much fun. And also that scene, and also the final fight, which takes place at the Eiffel Tower, which is like, I think it was Shanghai Nights took place at the Eiffel Tower in that movie, right? It starts off in the UK, but they end up in Paris at the Eiffel Tower. And in both movies, great fight scenes. Like, they really made it look like Adam Sandler can fight a little bit. Like, he's not Jackie Chan for sure, but he's doing what he can. And also Audrey, Nick and Audrey, they're both doing what they can. It's great. Great fight scenes in the Eiffel Tower scene as well. Just both great action sequences. Let's take a quick break right now to talk about, are you a fan of original artwork and live events? Look no further than the Many Faces series by Ray Taylor and the weekly live stream over at youtube.com/inspired disorder. This ongoing series explores the endless possibilities of the human face through abstract ink paintings on paper, capturing unique expressions of emotion, mood, tone, and energy in just a few minimal features. Join me every Thursday at 4:20 Pacific Time as I paint live. Follow the Many Faces series and discover the endless possibilities of the human face. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the action and own a piece of original artwork by me, Ray Taylor. Head to youtube.com/inspired disorder every Thursday to catch the live stream, and visit inspireddisorder.com to browse and purchase the Many Faces artwork. And now, let's get back to the show. The baton of suspicion constantly gets passed along, right? From the early scene where everybody's just constantly filing into their room at this island, and it's like, oh, this person's a suspect. No, this person's, like, it keeps kind of changing who the suspect is. And even in scenes like where the suitcase of money gets taken by Miller, right after the van crashes into a restaurant, and both Nick and Audrey survive, and Miller shows up, and he's like, great, you saved the money. I told you not to go to a second location. He takes the suitcase, throws it into his SUV, gets into the SUV, and then it blows up. Then you have the motorcycle guy drive up, and he literally walks through the fire to grab the suitcase out. As soon as he steps out of the fire, he gets hit by a trash truck, and the person in the dump truck gets the suitcase and drives away. So it's like, within a scene, you have, oh, maybe Miller is the guy. Nope. Maybe it's the motorcycle. It's definitely the motorcycle. Nope. It's the guy driving the trash truck. Like, just within one scene, it's making you go back and forth, like, what is going on? Right? Then you have the Countess Siku and her assistant, where there is a great, like, double then triple cross each other, which is another one of those scenes where it's like, back and forth, like you're watching a tennis match. Right? And even the end with the one thing that I would poke a giant hole that doesn't make sense in this is at the very end, where they succeed, they save their friend, and as a reward, he gives them a bag of like $5 million or whatever. And the bag of money is delivered by their helicopter pilot that flew them to the island to begin with, gave them like a gold-plated iPhone and the bag of money, and then takes off on his little Vespa. And once they get the money, they're like, what are we going to do? They end up taking that helicopter to go fly somewhere. But while they're in the helicopter, the pilot decides to take the money. He was faking it the whole time, and skydives out of the thing. Which is like, if he wanted the money, all he had to do was not deliver the money. He had the bag of money with him on the motor scooter when he delivered it to them at the end of the movie. So it doesn't really make sense that he would then wait But I mean, out of trying to kind of poke holes like that into this kind of movie is kind of ridiculous. But overall, I absolutely love this movie. I hope they do more. It seems like they're setting it up for like them to do more. We have some recurring characters that obviously it would be fun to see a lot of them, or even people from the first movie that survive, come back. Like, it's a franchise I hope they do more of. And since Adam Sandler clearly has this contract with Netflix and is why he's doing all these movies, I have a feeling the first one was successful. I can't imagine that somebody watching the first one not liking this one. It can't happen. I would imagine this would only increase the amount of viewers. So hopefully they do more. And it's like a good budget. Like, I don't know what the budget is, but it seems big. It seems like not like some epic movie, but it definitely seems like they put some money, right? They're shooting on locations. They have like great action scenes. It's just, I don't know, from top to bottom, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. Absolutely funny moments. Like a fun, entertaining mystery, some fun action, fun comedy. Right? I really love these movies. So much fun. Action, comedy, mystery. Who would have thought? Which I guess in some ways is kind of like the Enola Holmes. But I would say, like, out of that movie, which is kind of an action, comedy, mystery, I enjoy this more. Like, as far as like mystery, if that's the genre I'm gonna talk about, obviously the Benoit Blanc mysteries are my favorite than these, right? For very different reasons. Would absolutely love if the next movie, since Netflix produced Glass Onion, if somehow the next Benoit Blanc film is written, directed by Rian Johnson, with this couple also with Benoit Blanc, and not making it easy, like taking Benoit Blanc on this kind of a ride, but written in a way by Rian Johnson. I would think that would be the most epic crossover event if somehow they blended the Benoit Blanc franchise with the murder mystery franchise, right? Like, Murder Mystery presents Benoit Blanc. Benoit Blanc presents Murder Mystery 3. Whatever, however they want to do it, but that would be, specifically if Rian Johnson is the writer-director of it and collaborate with Adam Sandler. And, that would be ridiculous. I would, I would predict already it would be one of my favorite movies of that year. It just would be. It could not be that combination. Anyway, I know that's never going to happen. Never going to happen. And they do a time machine, and Enola Holmes comes too. Like, they do a trifecta of all of those universes coming together. But anyway, I love this movie. Highly recommend checking it out. Murder Mystery 2. Very generic title for a very fun movie. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of The Ray Taylor Show. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on Murder Mystery 2. Don't forget to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for more movie and TV show reviews. And don't forget to join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform, or over on youtube.com/inspireddisorder if you are watching these episodes, as they all come out in video format as well. But until next time, enjoy the show. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.